All right, welcome to another episode at Witt's End. I'm Ken. That's Carson. I don't know what it is on your screen, or if you're listening, welcome. And not sure what episode it is, but we were off for a couple of weeks.
17, I think.
17.
I
All
think
right,
17. How many
just
miles
growing
away
like
are we?
crazy. We're 6,000 miles away and 9 hours difference. It is morning here on the west coast of the United States, and early evening there. Correct?
Mid-evening, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Almost 8.
So
So
we haven't
recording
talked
on
in a
a Sunday.
while, but yeah, we always try and record on a Sunday. Football, NFL Sunday in the United States, and usually post college Saturday, but not much going on yesterday except the Army Navy game, which was a great game. And that's kind of what we want to discuss, maybe a little sports because there's a lot going on. The last 2 weeks we've been out from college football upsets 2 weeks ago to World Cup upsets to the Heisman Trophy announcement last night.
Yeah,
So maybe
so
that's go
we'll
ahead.
start, we'll start there. We'll start in the college football world. We'll start further back because we didn't get a chance to mention it, but we are both USC fans, Trojan, Southern California Trojan fans, not
Neither one
South
of us
Carolina.
went to SC.
Yeah, neither one. But we
Couldn't
went to a
afford it.
lot of SC games.
Yeah.
When I was younger, we saw them play a lot, and we're pretty dedicated fans for USC. Prior to me, like going to Virginia Tech,
And pretty
and
disappointed fans.
yeah, and so a couple weeks ago, USC going into the Pac-12 championship. Um, I mean,
Jeez.
they yeah, and going into the season, I think we knew there were a lot of unknowns. Obviously, Lincoln Riley, first year as head coach, a lot of
Phenomenal head
transfers,
coach. Yeah.
and they've done a fantastic job. He's done a fantastic job. It was their biggest turnaround in program history. +7 wins on the season. They still got one more game. Um, they uh, they had a fantastic season, and it shows for it. But one of the things USC's been lacking a lot, obviously winning, but that kind of that finishing a game, they always lose
They
those
were
games
soft.
where
Let's face it.
they just like should be winning these, and the big games too. They haven't been winning the big games, and going into like Pac-12 championship, right? So you play in Utah, in Vegas, so not far. You're also
Actually,
on the
close for
verge.
both teams.
Yeah, yeah. So, but USC is playoff berth. They win the game. I think they're in the playoff.
They would have been.
There's an argument to be made that they may not have been, but I think they probably would have been in the playoff as long as they just beat the Utah Utes. And in recent years, the Utah Utes have been dominating USC. I think they've won 4 out of the last 6 or
Yeah, they
4 of
got
the
their
last
number.
5. So they have their number, and you know,
And I will
spoiler:
say,
USC
as far
lost.
as far as the
So
Pac-12, I SC fan, but I do like the Utes. I like the campus. I think it's a great program all around. Um, I like Salt Lake City, so it's right in Salt Lake City. Great program, great school, great history. So I'm glad to see that they are have grown their
they,
program to
yeah, their
compete.
program's good now. Yeah, they have a
Yeah,
good program, and but yeah, USC like had their one thing going into the like throughout the season. Their defense had a rough game, but also their offense got dominated. And I will say Caleb got hurt, so that was a big thing too. He had a hamstring injury, but um, yeah, I mean, just a big disappointment uh
they got their
for
ass kicked
USC.
too. It
Yeah,
wasn't. It
they
wasn't
got
like it was
dominated.
close.
Yeah, they got
That's what was.
dominated physically on the line of scrimmage too. So it wasn't. It just wasn't it.
And I mean, if there's
um,
one team in the West in general, not just Pac-12, but in the Western United States, that would have been at one time
they're
a SEC caliber team, it's always been SC. The
yeah, they're
tradition, the
the.
Heisman trophies, the history, and they suck this the modern time. So
It's been a while since they've been good, but I'm very excited for Lincoln Riley, what he's done with the program. They're winning.
hopefully he can
Um,
maintain.
yeah, they got to maintain. He had his guys at Oklahoma, right? So they all transferred over. They had Caleb Williams, and so if he can maintain that, grow back up the recruiting base, that's the important thing. USC is an absolutely fantastic recruiting down in California.
Yeah.
The West, they have the West Coast. They can dominate the West Coast, and if they can get back to the glory of the Pete Carroll recruiting, I mean, not the
Even
illegal
go
stuff,
back
but
further from there.
yeah,
But
further, but
but
they just need to build their program again, and
yeah,
I think Lincoln Riley can do that for sure.
I mean Lincoln Riley could actually recruit in the southeast
Yeah, he
and
can
the
recruit
south,
across the
and
country.
he needs some big boys that are tough. I hate to say it, but the West Coast just I don't know.
Or USC has a long history. If you're thinking of like big boys, the Samoan,
Yeah,
guys that have
small
come to
guys.
USC have always
You want
been
tough guys. They used to
the
intimidate
tough.
people.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
they were so intimidating. Their band was intimidating. I mean, I remember as a kid going to the Coliseum and the band, they were tough guys. I remember the tuba player just sat next to him. The guy was unbelievable.
But yeah, I
And
mean with them going, so with USC and UCLA leaving the conference, it'll be interesting to see
which
what
is
the Pac
yeah, if you don't know it, they are leaving the Pac-12
Big
and
12
going
going to play in
yeah,
Big 12.
which
So that'll
is
be interesting.
gonna be unusual.
Yeah, it's weird. Teams they would normally be playing in a Rose Bowl, now they're playing
Yeah.
them in conference games. I don't understand how that made sense for the Rose Bowl too, but
Yeah, it's
you
gonna
know,
change things.
it's gonna be a weird thing for a college football fan for sure.
Well, SC is
Um,
confirmed because they're a private school, but UCLA, I hear, is that's not a done deal yet because
Interesting.
they are
I
a
didn't know
public
that.
university. Yeah,
Yeah.
our glorious the governors trying to fight it and all the politicians,
I
but
would too. I mean, if I were the Pac-12, would be fighting tooth and nail to keep a program like UCLA just
I would
as
too.
a
But I
non
would ask
football
the
program
question.
too.
I would ask the question, why are you leaving?
Yeah,
That's the question that needs to
just
be
doesn't make
asked.
sense. It doesn't make sense to me at all why either
I
team
think
would
it's
want
all
to
about the
go.
money. I mean,
Yeah,
let's when you think of the
but
Pac-12, it's considered the conference of champions, but
it's just not
on a Saturday,
football
who do you want to
champions.
watch? Do you want to watch an ACC team, an SEC team, a Big 12 team, or somebody in the Pac 12?
When in every sport besides football, the Pac-12 is
Yeah,
up
but
there at the top and
you're
competing
talking about
regularly,
sports
if
that
not the
don't
best.
generate an income other than maybe basketball.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So,
But
but
keeping in the Pac-12, a couple coaching craziness. So we'll
mhm.
start Colorado. Deion
That is wild.
Sanders, interesting.
Super interesting.
Um, I will say he did elevate Jackson State, but kind of the way he spoke about his time at when he was at Jackson State a few years ago was kind of confusing to me why he left so early. But it obviously made sense as just a guy who wants to go big time and going into
You're talking about his
Colorado.
comments to build up the
Yeah,
historically black
the
colleges in the
HBCU,
program. Yeah, I
yeah,
was kind of
and the
surprised by that
conference.
too.
But it's understandable, and he's moving on to a bigger school, and a program I've always has a very good history. If you really think about
Eh,
like the Colorado in the '90s was a
everybody says that.
powerhouse.
Yeah, what one, two, 3 seasons, 2 seasons.
Yeah, they have a history though, and if
Not
Dion
much
can
of a
bring them back to
history.
their
People
but
keep
some
saying that
history, some
Colorado has a
history.
history, but when you compare it to an SC in football,
Obviously,
yeah, Colorado,
obviously, but they have something
they
that
had
they were
minor
something at one
success.
point. They
Minor
were something at
success.
one point, and if Dion can bring him back to that successful like that, he will be a coach that is successful. And
And he's coming in at a good
he's
time because the two most competitive programs, USC and UCLA, are leaving the conference.
yeah, yeah. So it'll be his first time in the Power Five. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. I was a little blown away by his statements to the players, the current players, where he basically told them to enter the transfer portal because he's bringing in all new guys and his sons. Um, and then he also an interesting hire, but a very good one on his end. Hired a defensive assistant defensive coordinator from Alabama, who is also a very good recruiter. So
Yeah,
that was a big hire. He's his new defensive coordinator at Colorado, and that is a big hire for him. So if
yeah.
that can
A
turn out, I
graduate
think.
of the Saban Coaching Institute of Alabama.
Yep. So and then in other college football or Pac-12 coaching hire news. What was the big news locally where you were
Well,
at in California?
yeah, you kind of got to go back. Sac State, the university that is in Sacramento, the capital of California, has never really had a successful football program. I mean, we went to their games, and I think there's more
For a
cheerleaders than
long
people in the
time.
stands. Yeah, but the last few years, a gentleman by the name of Troy Taylor, who I believe you
Which
played against in high
again, you have to
school,
go. Yeah, you have to go
further back,
further back. He has Sacramento connections, so he led the most storied Sacramento area program to
public
their
high school.
best years. Yeah, the Folsom High School, a public high
Yeah,
school, is the greatest team that Sacramento area has ever seen. The Elk Grove
I would
teams,
actually
which are
say,
the Brent teams.
you have to rank them, not only rank them nationally, but in California definitely, because they're a public school. Yeah,
Yeah,
you've
but
got Mater
public
Dei, you've got
school
Bosco,
Sacramento,
the
like
Trinity Conference. You got to take. I know they say they don't recruit, but come on.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
all the
all.
big powerhouse schools in California are typically private Catholic. You know, De La Salle, St. John
Yeah,
Bosco, Orange Lutheran,
which is
Mater
the same
Dei.
across the country. You know.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah. So Troy Taylor built granted, a very large, the biggest high school in California, public high school in California, if I remember right. But he took Folsom, and they are the best program
Yeah.
still in the Sacramento area. But the teams he specifically coached were the greatest teams ever in Sacramento history, in my
Did you
opinion.
play?
Not
I
his
know,
best teams.
but you played
Um,
Folsom because Jack said he never got to play Folsom,
no, we didn't. We didn't play them. We
and
were kind of prior to them
that was
joining the
just the junior.
Rockland
Oh, the Sierra
to
Conference.
joining up
So
with Sierra. Yeah,
yeah, when you played him, it would have been the junior Folsom. What
yeah.
are they?
They
The
weren't as
Bulldogs.
good when I was in high school.
It was
It
the
was
years
more
after.
after like 2014 and 2013, 2012, where they're like really big years. I think.
Yeah,
With what's his name that went to Washington, became like a Heisman potential
right.
candidate and whatever. Um, but
But then Troy went from
he
Folsom
he went
to
from Folsom to Washington as like an assistant offensive
assistant.
coordinator. He also went to I think Colorado for a little while.
Yeah,
But he was bouncing around between a couple like three different universities, and then he got the head coaching gig at Sac
at
State.
Sac State. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he recruited both. Locally, he recruited a lot of the local kids, which is great. So over the past 4 years, built up the program, and I'm disappointed he got this new job
Well,
because I
what
would have
happened this
liked to have
year to
seen Sac State continue on and
yeah? So
growing
it
and becoming a
was
dominant
so what
force.
was what was their the reason he got it? Their season this year was I think the best they've ever had. I don't really know Sac
Oh
State's
no, no,
history.
it's by far the best they've ever had, and it's in 4 years he's won the conference I think 3 times. He's
Yeah, and
dominated the local rival UC
so that
Davis.
they were
Um,
12-0 going into the playoffs this year. Number two ranked in the FCS, their highest ranking in the playoffs ever,
yeah,
and home field advantage. Unfortunately, they did get upset in an absolute crazy game this past weekend.
most points
That
ever scored in
the
a playoff
playoff game,
for the
66 to 63, upset by Incarnate Word,
out of
um,
Texas, and
which is
he's his coach.
the
That coach got a new gig too at Texas.
yeah, the best quarterback in the FCS this year was the quarterback for Incarnate Word. But unfortunate loss, but still an absolutely incredible season for Sac State, which
Yeah,
has led to Troy Taylor getting hired by Stanford,
yeah,
which Stanford let go of David Shaw, who David Shaw did lead him to probably some of Stanford's most successful seasons ever. Andrew Luck era,
yeah,
McCaffrey, had some very good seasons with Stanford. Had he defined his program. He did a very good job at Stanford, but it's just it's not tough there, and times have moved on, so they're changing coaches. And Troy Taylor, a local guy, got the gig at
yeah.
Stanford. So
So
huge
Troy, we
congrats to
need some
him, man.
comp tickets.
That's an awesome thing to see, and to see his, you always think of player progression and moving up, but to see a guy go from a high
High
school
school.
level and watching him and knowing how he coached at the high school level, all the way to university assistant coaching jobs to university head coaching, now big time university, a true big time university too, not some like
Yeah, and I mean
smaller
it's not
university.
just a football school. Stanford is one of the premier universities in the world. I mean, academically, it stands up
They're
as a premier
they
university.
are, I think Stanford. You could argue with Notre Dame. I think Stanford is arguably the top academic football program.
Yeah,
Like as far as like the top academic schools in the world, you think of like the Harvards, the Yales. I think
yeah.
there's like two programs at the top, or like in terms of football. I think are like Notre Dame and Stanford. You would
I will
consider
say
like the
though,
premier academic schools.
talking about fan base though, I got to go with Notre Dame as far as a loyal fan base and following over Stanford.
Yeah, 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 for sure. I mean, they Notre Dame has a
I
lot of
mean,
history, but
you've had
um,
friends that have played for Stanford, and you go to their tailgate, and it's okay. You know, everybody talks what a great tailgate. You go to Notre
yeah,
Dame, and
yeah.
it's you're blown away by the acres and acres of people
But
tailgating and
I
the
think
loyalty.
Stanford has the academics on them. They're just
Yeah, I would
you know.
probably say so.
Um,
But
so yeah,
and
big news there, and then finally the final news of the Pac-12 just recently last night. USC's
wait
QB.
before you
Oh,
go. What's your bet on Troy Taylor? You think he's going to be successful?
um, yeah, I think it'll take a couple years though. I think
The,
he's built every program very well.
all right.
He's very smart.
So you think he
It's
can
it's
win
all
the
about recruiting.
Pac-12?
It's all about
In
recruiting. That's all that matters. He
what does
just needs to
Stanford
recruit
finish
well.
this year? Pretty.
Under 500, I think.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
give
I don't
Troy
know,
three
but
years. He might be in the mix. I think in
we'll
3
see.
years.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Now go
But
to the big
I
news of
like
the
to think
evening.
so. Yeah. So last night, Heisman Trophy award ceremony won by USC QB Caleb Williams. Personally, I think it was an obvious choice. The biggest thing I think was wrong was that Hendon Hooker of Tennessee did not get an invite to New York.
Yeah.
I thought he should have gotten an invite, but
What do you think
Caleb
about that
Williams,
TCU guy?
yeah, so he won it over TCU's Matt Studien, Ohio State's CJ Stroud, and
Yeah.
Georgia Stetson Bennett. Um, Matt Studien, I think, has done an incredible job at TCU. I don't think he's Heisman
Heisman
Trophy
quality.
winner.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
so either.
I think he should not have been there. Either him or Stetson Bennett should not have been there, and Hendon Hooker should have been there. Because had Hendon Hooker not gotten hurt, I think he and maybe played it a little bit better down the stretch for sure. But had he was on pace for most of the season to be a Heisman favorite, and then the Georgia loss happened, and
Yeah.
just kind of everything fell apart. But he should have gotten an invite, in my
Well,
opinion.
I thought Caleb and SC blew it with their loss to Utah, but I was
It's
wrong.
just Caleb
He
Williams
is
has
a
been the most
phenomenal athlete.
consistent. He's put up the best numbers of all those quarterbacks. CJ Stroud lost it halfway through the year. He just kind of fell off. Stetson Bennett's never been like a stat guy. He just kind of leads the best team in the country.
Yeah.
He's not really a big time playmaker. And I've also found it funny. Stetson Bennett, fun fact: Stetson Bennett was born in 1997. Lamar Jackson was born in 1997. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman Trophy in 2017, and Stetson Bennett was a Heisman Trophy finalist in 2022.
Hey,
So Lamar Jackson's been dominating the
one for the old
NFL for
guys.
years, and
One for the old
Stetson,
guys.
yeah, he's been
Yeah.
doing his thing in college for a while. So, it was a crazy fact that I saw with Lamar. Just goes to show
I
you how
forgot.
crazy
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is. Uh,
Yeah.
that
Well,
yeah,
and the
he's
other
been
thing
in the
is,
NFL dominating for a while.
so Caleb wins it. SC gets another Heisman to put in the Heisman room there, Heisman Hall. And they mentioned SC has 8 Heisman trophies. And I was curious when they said that. Does that include OJ's?
I
Or are there
assume
actually
so. So you'd
9?
have to think of OJ's
They took OJ's Heisman out, if you remember.
and Reggie's, right? So
Why
you
did
have
they
the
take
two Reggie Bush,
he's got
the recruiting.
oh, I didn't realize I forgot they took away that.
They they gave it back.
Oh, they did.
I think
So,
just recently.
so including Reggie's and OJ's the big one. How many does
Well,
USC have now? They're the
so
dominant Heisman Trophy
you have
winner by far.
Reggie, Marcus Allen, Carson
Yeah,
Palmer, Matt Leinart. Let's see who else.
OJ.
Charles White.
Oh
That's
yeah.
it. OJ. Um, what's
What
the
are you at?
list?
8? There's more. There's
I need a better list.
yeah. Let me.
I think they're at 8. Let me find it here. I'm just pulling it up right now. Okay, so here, count with me, count with me. So
Uh,
you have um yeah, they have 8. Um okay, here's the list. Here's the list. So Mike Garrett, 1965, OJ,
okay.
68,
Oh, so they're including
Charles
OJ.
Charles White, 79, Marcus Allen, 81, Carson Palmer, 02, Liner, 04, Reggie Bush, 05, and Caleb Williams, 2022.
All right.
So 8 total.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, Heisman produces them. It's been a while though.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the early 2000s era was kind of crazy for them, but it's been what 17 years since Reggie's.
Been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they went on that drought in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s where they just didn't have anyone. They weren't
But
winning anything after Marcus to Carson
Reggie's doing
Palmer.
okay. He's selling Wendy's hamburgers and doing.
Oh yeah, Reggie Bush is, and they pretty much like all the recruiting stuff and all that scandal with him is kind of blown over, especially with all the NIL contracts and everything. And
Yeah.
I mean, I still like for all that that doesn't change his on-field performance. The dude was just unbelievable in college. He deserved the Heisman.
Well,
He
those guys
is
do. I mean,
yeah. He his
OJ
on-field
deserved the
performance.
Heisman. Yeah.
I don't think you should take away a Heisman for any of like I get like OJ and Reggie Bush, but their Heisman should have never been taken away if
I
it
get why
was.
they want to take it away, but the accomplishment, they attained those goals before, well, OJ attained that long before he had his convictions and
Yeah.
legal
So,
issues.
but
That's like,
congrats to
yeah,
Caleb Williams there,
at SC
Heisman and SC on a good year, but definitely
could have been better.
it could have been better for sure. So
Hey,
speaking of could have been better,
wait,
go ahead.
talking about college football,
Yep.
JKU Astros, have they chosen a uniform set yet?
Not yet. Yeah. Still working on it. Still too
Oh,
deep to be
can't
determined.
can't publicize it yet. Can't show the
Yeah.
crowds. It'll
Yeah,
be
nothing
interesting.
yet.
Okay.
Nothing yet. So we'll keep that under wraps for now.
All right.
But keeping the college football, so unfortunately USC's not in, but college football playoff, I think was completely right in how it ended up. Number one Georgia, number two Michigan, number three TCU, number four Ohio State. The correct teams. There's no ifs ands or buts for any other team.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 teams. I also personally think so. The only thing up for debate was the 3-4 order. Who was 3, who was 4. I think the order they did it is perfect because I don't want to see a 2-3 rematch of Michigan Ohio State again. If
Neither
they're
do
going to
I.
rematch, they need to earn their rematch at the national championship. So the Georgia Ohio State, fantastic matchup. Michigan TCU, fantastic matchup. That is a perfect 1, 2, 3, 4 for me in the college
Yeah.
football playoff.
I like it too. I mean, I am not an Ohio State fan. I mean, it goes way back to Woody Hayes.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
an Alabama fan, but I respect both programs. Um,
They had no
it's
right
a,
to college football playoff this year. They won
Alabama.
nothing.
No,
Yeah,
you're right.
they
I
didn't
don't
win
think they
any of
have the
their big
talent,
games.
but they still have what are they, 5? They're ranked
They're
5th.
number
Yeah.
5, which is kind
They
of
sh-
they
it's higher
shouldn't
than
be
I
number
thought they
5.
should be.
I think Tennessee should be higher than them, to be honest.
Well, I
But
don't know.
you
Yeah,
know,
I don't know. I didn't really look at it. I was shocked that USC and Utah or what are they like? Utah's like 7 and
8.
SC's 8.
Yeah,
So
eight for
um,
Utah,
it's
10
going to
for
be
SC.
interesting to see if TCU is really that premier level.
Yeah,
Georgia is unbelievably talented, but they kind of
they're
reminded me of
so
the old
good.
SC. Sometimes they just don't finish well, or they get, I don't know,
I
lazy,
don't know.
lackadaisical. There's something about them.
They've in all their big games they've shown up this year and they have
That's what I'm
dominated
saying.
them.
Things may have changed. Maybe Kirby's got him on the right track, but it
They
just seems in the past.
I have a hard time seeing them losing to Ohio State the way Ohio State played
Yes.
against Michigan. I don't think Georgia.
But Ohio
I think
State
Georgia should
always
be easy.
surprises people. I think so
Yeah,
too. I like Georgia. I'll be in Georgia shortly. So,
the
um,
um the way Ohio State wins. Ohio State has two teams: the team that played against Michigan and the team that everyone thinks they could be because they could be a
yeah,
number one team. And whoever shows up is like if the team that played against Michigan shows up, it'll be a blowout by Georgia. If the team
yeah.
that everyone thinks they could be, and CJ Stroud plays Heisman
It'll,
Trophy candidate
it'll be
like he was
close,
early in
but
the
they'll
year,
still
it could be a
lose.
game. Michigan TCU, man, that's a tough one. I
Yeah, I'm not convinced TCU is the team that is the.
but we've
I think Michigan's
yeah
going to take them. I don't know.
I
That game's
I
going to
think
be a
Michigan
proving
will.
ground.
Yeah, the I'm like you. I'm not convinced on TCU, but the when I say that they've basically won everything. Everyone says that, and they keep winning except for their Kansas State
They
champ
got
Big 12
God on their
championship.
side. It is Texas
And
Christian, so
yeah, but they kept proving to everyone week in week out being undefeated the whole season until that championship game. And even in that championship game, I mean, man, they were in it to the very end, losing by a field goal.
yeah. I
Um,
I think
I
it's going to be
just
Georgia and Michigan, and I
yeah.
think Georgia's got it. But hey,
Yeah, I think
with
they go
college
back to back.
football, so what? God, what's the name of the school? Incarnate, the team that beat
Yeah,
Sacramento in one of the wildest games ever, and they'll be playing the Jackrabbits from South Dakota.
South Dakota.
You taking South Dakota?
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
same here.
South Dakota's a good team.
The Dakotas, man, they
They're
dominate that.
good.
Well, no, the
Montana's
Dakota.
good this year too.
Actually, I take that back. It's South Dakota. They beat Holy Cross, right? So now they're
Yeah.
playing
Yep.
Montana.
Yeah. Let me see the. Um.
So Incarnate, yeah, I don't know.
Let me see their bracket right now.
Both the Dakotas always have great football teams.
Yeah. So
Montana,
so we have
of
South
course,
Dakota dominated Delaware. Then they doubled up
Holy
Holy
Cross.
Cross. So they are playing Montana State. That's right. Montana
Okay,
State won.
that's the Grizz,
So South Dakota Montana State 1v4 matchup.
and then it's
And
going to
then
be
you have the underdog Incarnate Word against the powerhouse North Dakota State.
oh,
Um,
what's North Dakota? The Bison or are they the Jackrabbits?
they are the who are they? I don't know. I think they're
I always
the
get it wrong. Whatever. Yeah,
yeah, but
they got great
um,
teams.
yeah, it's an interesting matchup. I Incarnate Word. I mean, if their quarterback goes off like he did against Stat State, it's gonna be hard to beat them, right? Um,
Look like
but
a
North Dakota
basketball
State,
score.
yeah, North Dakota State's pretty dominant team. I think South Dakota State wins on the other side. Number one team. I think they go to the championship. I think that 3v7 North Dakota State versus Incarnate Word is kind of a toss up. I think either one could win that.
Yeah,
I think definitely North Dakota State has the advantage. Especially I think it's at North Dakota State,
I
so
think
big
so
home
too.
field
Because
advantage,
they were
huge home
watching.
field.
Yeah, I was watching some of the social media. They said they can't wait to have you up here in the snow.
Yeah, yeah. So
And that's
yeah,
the other thing that pissed me off about this Sac State game. Both weekends was not televised.
yeah. No, I think it
It was on
was, but
like
just
on one of
not.
the
It was hard to find.
ESPN. Yeah, you couldn't find it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so it was on nowhere. I couldn't even get it on social media. I had to kind of watch the
yeah. So
scoreboard.
I think the weather will be Incarnate Word. So I'm
Yeah.
picking South Dakota versus North Dakota
All right.
championship. So keeping the college football theme, Army Navy yesterday.
That was a good game.
I didn't watch it. I saw the
I think
score.
Navy played the better game, but Army got the breaks.
So
So
it went to 2 OT, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
And
good game. I
Army
thought
was
of you
the
because of the Navy
the
unis.
space helmets, yeah,
Yeah,
the
which
NASA
I don't get.
helmets.
Why? What's the
Because
connection between the Navy
because
and NASA?
Navy has the most astronauts
Oh,
of any.
so
Yeah,
that's why they had the astronaut floating on the one side and
yeah,
the
yeah,
NASA.
yeah. They have the
Oh,
most astronauts of any military school, like by
okay.
far, I think.
Boy,
Um,
that's a reach.
but it's super cool. They always do super cool uniforms for that game nowadays, and
Yeah,
like I think Army's uniforms were their like tank division.
yeah. That wasn't an. It's sad. I'm sitting here talking about unis and fashion and football, but because of your experience of developing the program at JKU and their unis, I guess I'm more into it.
Yeah, I
But
mean they did the so yeah the tank unis. Yeah, the
yeah,
I can't remember
it
the
definitely was army
division.
looking. It had like the can and then the
Old
insignia thing.
Ironsides.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually super cool. I see on their helmets they had like a metal, like a the metal you wear on your uniform to
You're talking
signal.
about army. They had the
Yeah,
triangle one, but that reminded me of like in freight and trucking. You have
yeah.
the diamonds and stuff saying it's toxic waste or it's consumables or flammables or something.
But old
But
Ironsides uniforms are
yeah,
sick.
but
Those unis are sick.
it was a
I
great
like
game.
them.
But they did mention one of the announcers that the Air Force actually won the Commanders Cup.
Yeah, Air Force was best team this year.
Wow! So to win the Commanders Cup, what does that take? You don't have to
To be
play.
honest, I don't know. I mean,
It's not a.
they all play each other, don't they? So
I don't think Air Force plays Army and Navy. That would be a cool military bowl
um,
game, though.
Commander in
But
Chief's trophy is awarded to each season's winner of the American College Football Series among the teams of the U.S. Military Academy, the U.S. Naval Academy, and the Air Force Academy.
I don't think they
Navy
played
Air
each
Force
other.
is normally played on the first Saturday in October, Army Air Force on the first Saturday in November,
Oh, then
and
I guess they
Army
did play.
Navy on the second Saturday in December.
All right,
So I
stand
assume Air
corrected.
Force won their two
Yeah,
games.
yeah. That actually would have been
Yeah,
yesterday's
they did.
game a watch party for your team, just to see the stands,
Yeah,
everybody in
fully decked
uniform.
out.
I
Yeah.
would have loved to see their faces go. Why are all the fans wearing the same clothes?
Yeah.
Why are there
Interesting.
mostly men screaming? And
Yeah, I mean, every time we watch games like the college football specifically, they're always kind of blown away by the stands. Like when we watched Michigan Ohio State, I was like telling like, yeah, when they're at the shoe, it's like 110,000 people there, and they're like, it's like a shock to them because that is half of the town that we are here, more than
is it a
half the
shock
people.
because it's college or sports in general? Because I mean,
College because it's college,
okay, because I
like
mean soccer,
it's
you get big crowds
they
in
still don't
Europe.
get that many people at the
Yeah,
biggest stadiums in Europe, but
in
the fact
freezing
that
weather.
it's college, like it's
Yeah.
college kids
Well,
getting
that's
that
why
many
it's
people is
so
what
interesting
blows.
about what you're doing. You're establishing a American football program, the league, and everything there, and to see some of the things they're doing to kind of mirror the NCAA, cheerleaders and
Yeah,
whatever.
I learned.
But it's
I
so
did.
much more. They don't understand the big universities in the United States. Football is a revenue generator. It's
Yeah,
the farm system for the NFL, basically. It's huge money. Coaches get paid millions and millions of dollars at the highest level. So, yeah.
yeah. It's and I learned that the ACSL was founded after a the guy who created it did a semester abroad at the University of Kentucky.
Oh, really? There you
Yeah,
go.
Wildcats. So interesting one. He did a semester there, and he brought back the idea of you know college sports into Austria. So
But it's interesting
um,
they didn't start. For those folks who don't know, the ACSL
ACSL,
has
Austrian Collegiate Sports
basketball
League.
and starting football. But why they didn't start with soccer and maybe baseball? Because Europe has a decent baseball program. I mean, you know, from the Netherlands, even Austria has a decent baseball program.
Yeah, but
But
I think they have bigger football. I understand the soccer. Like if they did some university football teams, would be uh, make a lot of sense. But there's so many club teams like that are in
Yeah,
each city that
yeah,
their guys are playing for, so that may be why. But the basketball obviously makes the most sense. Uh, and they have men's and women's. They have the cheerleading, and they have
yeah,
now football. Because football is, when you think of college sports in America, it's football. Like
yeah.
it's football. So
Well,
um,
we'll see. I'm looking forward to hopefully someday going to a game and doing shots of Jaeger and drinking a beer and listening to the announcer play disco music. So yeah,
yeah.
club
So
tunes.
one final wrap up. So biggest thing going on in the world of sports right now, the World Cup. I just want to say just want to say for the USA, I think they did a great job in the group stages. Definitely disappointing. Playing the Netherlands in the knockouts, losing 3-1. They played really well throughout the tournament. I think they're missing a goal scorer, a striker.
No, they're missing a. I was gonna say I learned. I now know the
Yeah,
term
striker.
striker. So
They're missing a goal
somebody who can make
goal.
goals.
Yeah, a goal scorer. They're missing that one guy, and I think if they had that guy, it could have been just absolute game changer.
Yeah, because they were in the
Um,
game physically. They were faster. It seemed they were pretty
midfield is
aggressive. They
the
had
midfield dominated
opportunities,
a lot.
and again,
Yeah,
I don't know soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, but they just couldn't. They just could have put it in the net.
goals. Yeah, we need goals, and that's so if we can develop a striker over the next 4 years, I mean something to look forward to in 2026, the World Cup in North America. That will be an incredible time. I definitely think quarterfinals is the minimum the U.S. needs to get on the home field. They need to get to the quarterfinals of the knockout top eight in the world. That's the goal. Nothing less than that
No,
is
they should
acceptable.
win it. Win
I
it
mean,
at
that's
home.
that would be nice too. But um, I want to also mention so quarterfinals were these past couple days. Netherlands Argentina was so that whole day of matches. So Netherlands versus Argentina and Croatia versus Brazil. Both went to penalties. Both late goals, like to tie up. Both had comebacks. I mean, Netherlands Argentina was crazy. The the
Which I
rivalry
didn't know
between
they
them,
had a
the
rivalry
shouting,
already. Yeah,
yeah, the just the craziness of that game, and then Croatia coming back against Brazil. I mean, Croatia does it again, man. Wow, knocking out the number one team in the
yeah.
world, the definite
Brazil
favorite
was.
by coming back. Oh yeah, big favorite. And then coming back to do it and dominating the penalties. Croatian goalkeeper dominated the penalties. I also say that the ref in the Netherlands Argentina match, who gave out like 17 or yellow cards, which is a record
Record.
for the World Cup, sucked. Messi honestly should have gotten a red card. Something's up there,
So
so
you're
I kind of
saying
feel bad for the
he was
Netherlands.
bought and paid for? There
Saying
alleged
something.
corruption within FIFA.
Um, yeah, shocking allegations. Morocco, I mean, incredible for them. First African team in the semifinals.
What I find
Huge
ironic
wins.
about that, so they're playing France, right?
Yes, they're playing France.
So they're basically one country's playing each other.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
mean, if you've ever been to
it's
Paris, I mean, it's North Africans is the dominant immigrant group there, and I
but
believe Morocco's a
huge.
former colony of France, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but huge deal. Um, and big like congrats to Morocco. They're just winning games. They're a lot. They're doing now what the U.S. should be doing in 2026. Like the U.S. should be doing this, winning as a team. There's no true standout player from Morocco. And if you didn't know, Morocco has actually not given up a goal yet so far.
It is a
To
former French colony.
Good to know. But
I
they have
just, I
not
believe.
given up a goal so far to any other team. They had an own
Yeah,
goal. And that was the
but
only goal
another
they
thing
gave
with
up.
Morocco isn't like most of their team not
It's like
residents or citizens of Morocco.
50% foreign
Yeah,
born,
yeah.
which, yeah, the foreign born, debate in soccer is, it's hard to, like, you know. there's so much that you could talk about there, but
Yeah,
it's who the guys play for, who they choose
yeah.
to play for. You got to say a lot of the guys who play for like the African countries, like they wouldn't be as good as they were without like the clubs and the programs
The
in like the
European
European
programs.
countries.
Yeah,
So like Morocco's best player, born and raised in Spain, grew up playing I think with Real Madrid's academy team. If he stayed in Morocco and went through some Morocco club, he probably wouldn't be as good
and he
as if
wouldn't be
he
there.
was a
Yeah,
Madrid guy. And yeah, he wouldn't be playing and leading Morocco right now. But with that said, they did knock out Belgium, Spain, and Portugal. So it's not like
so
their path has been
who's your
easy.
what's your prediction for the
Yeah, so
final?
Argentina, Croatia in one final. Um, I do want to see
Croatia.
Messi
Oh,
win,
I could care less about Messi winning. So
but I'm starting to dislike Argentina a lot for their antics, and Croatia has
their
been
bad sportsmanlike conduct,
yeah, everyone hates their conduct, but
except the
Croatia has been
Argentinians.
like yeah, yeah. But maybe if they win it, they deserve to kind of be
The
the
braggarts. Yeah.
braggadocious guys. But they need I mean it's a toss up there. Croatia can beat anyone in the World Cup. Yeah, I mean they can beat anyone. I think the edge will go to Messi. Basically, I think Messi will do something and finally secure his like World Cup legacy. Even if he doesn't win the final, I think he does something in this game against Croatia. France and Morocco. Morocco, the up to this point has been incredible. They've knocked out Belgium, number 2 team, Spain, number 3 team. I think they are.
Mhm.
Portugal, another like top 10 team. Cristiano Ronaldo's last game. It ends with France. France is so good, and just uh, France is so good, and it's crazy to think because they have like 6 starters, 6 really good players for France that are injured right now, not playing, and and they're still this dominant. Like France is so good at soccer right now. It's crazy.
Well,
I think France wins the World Cup again.
I'm
I think they
I'm
win the
going
World Cup.
for the underdogs as usual. So I want to see
Croatia.
the final be Croatia and Morocco, with Croatia taking it.
Interesting.
So
Interesting. I could see that happening too. I think Croatia has a better chance to beat Argentina than Morocco beating France.
yeah,
But I mean,
they're
I
the
just
long
think
shot.
France is just too good. They're so good, and they're
I guess
still
if you
like
were
Mbappe
taking
is still young.
the spiritual route, you would go Morocco because it's in a Muslim country.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they definitely have the fan support on their side in Qatar. Um,
Yeah, that's the other debate. Are they
that
really
have a
fans or are they
huge
just paid for spectators?
no the fan. Well, they're all the people in Qatar are rooting for Morocco because they're a Muslim
Yeah,
nation, so they
yeah.
have a massive fan support. But there's also a ton of Moroccan fans. But I don't know if you noticed too. Argentina has a ton of fans
Yeah,
there.
I did notice that
They and
too.
they actually like flew a bunch of fans. I don't. There's a word for it in Argentina, but like the ultras or the hooligans in England, ultras in
They're
Europe,
like
the kind of rabid
super
fans.
fans.
They
Yeah,
flew them out from Argentina to the World Cup to be at the games. Like the government flew them out.
for free.
Yeah, just
No,
go into the games. Yeah, the
wow.
government paid for it for some of their fans to go.
All right, I'm
Um,
anti-government spending, but that'd be kind of cool if they'd have done that for the Americans. I wish Biden had done that.
we don't have ultras though.
Yeah,
We have we have
we have
Joe
hipsters.
Schmo. Yeah, there and
So,
his we believe what we will win. Bornness.
yeah,
That's one thing
exactly.
that we need to.
Get better
That's
chance.
one thing that would be crazy if the chance we had chance at like college football games. Like I I never realized like you know
The singing and
they're
stuff.
just yeah if that was at like a college football
Well,
game, it'd be
I mean, you
crazy.
went to Tech. You kind of have the opening with Enter Sandman.
There's
You
some
got
stuff
jump at yeah. There's
at
certain things that
Wisconsin.
people do, and the Florida Gator, that kind of stuff. So it's all
Yeah.
about there's differences, but there would be you have your alma mater at the end of the game. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's funny
But
at
they
the
don't
end of
have
the
like
Army
a
Navy game.
scene during it.
Uh, your mom was watching kind of at the end with me, and she's, "Oh, are they? What are they singing at the end?" I go, "Their alma mater. The fights or whatever." And she goes, "Do people always do that?" I go, "Your sons did it in high school as part of the game. Every team does that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do that in Vienna at the games. That'd be kind of funny. Do they have? They
Well,
don't
they
have an
do
alma mater.
on the Univine Emperor's uniforms. It actually says like alma mater on the. It's like part of their like
Hey, I wore my
branding or
Emperor's
something.
hat yesterday, but it's not. It's the Emperor's baseball team, the now
Yeah.
defunct Emperor's baseball team. Is that the same logo?
No. No, the
No.
Univine has like an eagle on it or something.
What's their colors?
Like gray. Um
Oh,
yeah, the it's like grayish baby blue. Uh
wow.
but yeah, different
All
they
right.
look
Well,
different.
let's finish up. I
Uh
got one question for you. It has to do with the NFL, and then
yep.
we'll close off this episode. Did you Baker Mayfield?
Wow,
I hated. I
unbelievable.
did not like the guy in college, but I kind of love him now.
I
Small for a
mean,
quarterback, braggadocious, but he keeps fighting. And look what he did for the Rams.
yeah, I don't
he
know how
he gets
did
released from the
that.
Panthers, kind of shows up, wasn't starting, gets put in the game, and then comes back and beats the Raiders. I don't know
Yeah,
if it says
how
much about the Rams or about the
it's
Raiders.
both. Yeah,
Yeah.
sad Raiders year. Um, but yeah, what
Beautiful
he did.
stadium for the Europeans that go to Vegas. You know, don't go see the
Yeah,
Raiders play. Go see a concert at the stadium. It's phenomenal.
yeah, coming in for 2 days to come in and lead that, like crazy, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy what he did.
And he's
So shout out
funny.
to him.
He's like Peyton Manning with commercials too. He's got great commercials on our
Yeah, he's
TV.
got a good personality, but yeah, I mean, he's just never taken his football play to the next level.
It's hard because physically he's not
He's pretty
dominant
gifted.
physically. He's
He's pretty
gifted.
gifted though. Like
Yeah.
what he did in college, he was pretty
Yeah.
insane in college.
So, all right, that's all
But
I
with
got.
that, yeah, we'll end that here. What again? Episode 17 of the At Wits End podcast. Find us on social media, our Facebook page at Wits End. We post pretty regularly on there. We'll try and post more. Hopefully, you listen to us on your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts on Apple Music, Amazon Podcasts, whatever it may be. Thanks for listening. Also on YouTube at Wits End. You can find us there with our video podcasts, our vodcasts. And yeah, so thanks for listening to us. Also for TikTok at Wits End underscore on TikTok.
It's a lot.
So
It's a lot.
find us across social
Cheers,
media,
everybody.
and we'll see y'all later.